How are you?
Hello, Juan Carlos. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm fine. How was your return to Ecuador?
Fantastic. I love my country, and despite of all the paperwork that we had to do at the beginning of our return, everything was okay, and family, and the food, and the weather, everything is fantastic in Ecuador. I love my country.
Yes, me too. I hope to return this month. I miss my family. Okay.
I'm pretty good about it.
Yes. Well, I have some questions for you about assessment. Yes. Well, let's go.
Okay, let's go.
What do you know about authentic assessment?
Through authentic assessment, teachers can realize if the students are ready to apply the theoretical knowledge that they have acquired in real situations. I mean, authentic assessment implies that the task must must have certain level of difficulty, which means that students will be able to solve problems in the future, the problems that an adult citizen has to face every single day on a daily basis. So that's the difference between traditional assessment, which is only a written test most of the time here in Ecuador, and versus authentic assessment, which is a real way to assess students.
Okay, awesome. The second question: what are the difference between authentic assessment and traditional assessment?
As I just told you, traditional assessment in our case, in the Ecuadorian system, implies only written tests. Most of the time they are written. The student has to produce in a written way, which is not a good thing, because you know as an educator that students must produce through the four skills. But here in Ecuador, every month and every 5 months, students must take some tests as a summative assessment in order to get a grade. If the student fails, it means that that student won't be promoted to the next year. And that's a big problem, because traditional assessment through these written tests are not showing the real acquisition of students. Maybe that student probably was nervous, was stressed. Maybe that student had problems the night before the test. So that's not authentic assessment. Only a written test. That's not authentic assessment, but that's a problem in our country.
Yes. Well, the next question. Do you make authentic assessment in your class?
Well, right now I'm working in a university as a teacher. Before my scholarship in Kansas State University, I used to work in a public school. I tried to apply authentic assessment that I learned in my first training program that I was in Kansas as well, but it was very difficult for many reasons. First of all, the curriculum was established in order to follow and accomplish some specific times. So if you don't complete the curriculum according to the times that the authorities order you, you are failing as a teacher, you are a bad teacher. So that's a problem. I think that that's one limitation, because authentic assessment implies that the teacher must have certain time to plan engaging activities, challenging activities, and if you don't have the time, as in the case of the Ecuadorian system, you know that we work 8 hours a day, and we don't have that time to plan as we want to. That's one limitation, the time. The second limitation, that we have to follow the curriculum in order to complete the curriculum. This curriculum has not been planned taking into account the needs of the students. So it's only a copied curriculum from other countries, so we just have to follow it. We don't have time to plan. We don't have time to assess in an authentic way. Yeah, that's the second limitation, I think. Two limitations.
Well, what is your new job in what university? Which
I'm working at a university, Universidad Central del Ecuador.
Okay. Awesome.
Excuse me?
Yes. What are the benefits that you found when you apply authentic assessment in your class?
Okay, when I applied, actually I couldn't apply as much as I wanted. However, I applied, I did it. Well, first of all, I could notice how my students acquired the knowledge, how they could apply it in real situations, in real life situations. I'm not going to assess only in order to get theoretical concepts, because probably those concepts will be forgotten in the future. So the way they solve certain problems through authentic assessment, the way how they work in groups, for example, because when you assess in an authentic way, you have to take into account a group configuration. You know that in Ecuador we have more than 50 students per class as an average. So that's a big problem. You can't assess students one by one. So you have to take into account group configuration. In my case, I learned a lot about group configuration in Kansas State University. So I know how to fix create these groups. That's the way I try to apply the authentic assessment. Hands-on activities in Kansas State University, we learned a lot how to use hands-on activities, which means that we have visuals, we have kinesthetic activities, we use multiple intelligences. So it's completely different from the Ecuadorian context that we used to have in the past.
Okay. Yes. So, what are the difficulties that you found when you apply authentic assessment in your class?
Well, first of all, a large number of students per class. That's a big difficulty. When you say the word authentic, means that you want to know if each of your students has learned and is ready to apply that knowledge into practical situations. But that's pretty difficult in our country. I would lie to you if I say, oh, I did it. Now I know how every student in my class is ready to apply the knowledge. Very difficult. That's a big problem in our country. I knew that President Correa, he said that in the future, every class in Ecuador will have 25 students, no more than 25 students. So then we will be ready to have a real authentic assessment. However, it's not impossible to develop that kind of assessment in our classes. I repeat, so the first limitation of large classes. The second limitation is authorities, they think that authentic assessment is only part of a kindergarten program. I mean, when they see that you are or making hands-on activities, I mean manipulatives, I mean when you take an oral test through a theater or a song, when students sing songs, authorities think that that's not the way that we should assess. Authorities tell you, no, stop doing that because you have to develop a written test in order to make students write the answer, and if the students don't pass that exam, we can show that exam to the parents so they know that their son failed. So that's not authentic assessment. Maybe a song, maybe a poem, maybe a cartoon made by students. That's authentic assessment. So they can show what they have learned, the way they can do it, and obviously applying in order to solve problems.
Yes, we think like you is okay. The next question: we should use authentic assessment in Ecuador, and why?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, we should use authentic assessment in Ecuador, and why?
Of course, absolutely, because we don't want our students to demonstrate knowledge only when they have to take a test, only the knowledge from discipline. We don't want that. We want our students to demonstrate that they are able to apply some skills in order to face problems and to provide solutions to the problems that they will have in their real lives in the future. So that's why we should be we should be pushing to get to know as educators this kind of assessment. We should share, if we know something about authentic assessment, we should share to the rest of our colleagues, even when they are skeptical. Some of them say, no, traditional assessment is the best way to assess our students. Well, I don't say that we should eliminate traditional assessment, but we can combine both, but giving more priority to the authentic assessment in order to guide our students to be good professionals and to solve problems. That's what authentic assessment is for.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for answer our questions and share your thoughts. And it's awesome that as a master you know a lot about assessment. Thank you so much.
I owe a lot of my knowledge to my university, to your university, Kansas State University, to our teachers. They are fantastic. Now that I'm working in a university, every time I provide some knowledge to my students, I remember the way that my professors in Kansas State University provided me that knowledge. So I'm very grateful with the university, and I hope you guys enjoy and advantage of all the knowledge that they are sharing with you.
Yes, we are enjoying the all about KCC State. Is awesome, and well, I don't know how to say how say. Well, okay, bueno, creo que ya se terminó. Eso es todo. En serio, me siento muy nervioso. Bueno.
Oye, excelente tu inglés. Excelente, parece que has venido tomando muchísimas clases aquí en Ecuador porque lo haces súper bien. Les veo escribir ahí a la Gaby, al Black, a la Daya, a ustedes. Pero bien, a veces yo digo, ¿será que estos chicos usan traductor? Porque realmente lo hacen muy bien. Saben que a veces les veo pequeños errores, pero digo, no les corrijas porque van a decir, qué pesada esta más. Pero por interno les voy a corregir si es que veo algún pequeñito, ¿ya?
Dale, Judith, gracias.
Judith, bueno, muchísimas gracias por todo. Gracias por tu tiempo y es que te vaya muy bien. Gracias.
Nos veremos pronto, espero verlo.
Ahí conversamos, chicos.
Listo.
Un abrazo.
Listo. Suerte en el trabajo. Chao,
Una linda
Judith.
noche. Chao.
Gracias.
Qué bacán.